Benvenuti, and we're back with the PPC. My name is Merlo. With me, Chris, and joining us today, The Rock, Dolson. Actually, later in the day,
Is he
probably.
here?
Kristen, yeah, I don't know, but he's around somewhere.
Okay.
He's gonna be joining us today.
Well, he's apparently must be on the long ride up to New Hampshire right now if he's coming here with me. But definitely excited to have the three of us here, not
Yep.
just me and Merlo like previous weeks, to bring you guys all of the action here in the PPC today. And we should have decent games, I think. I mean, the first one that we're going to get to today, Europe, may be a little bit of a mismatch between Yoinkers and Mixalazeub. We have the number one seed in Yoinkers, the team that picked up Prosper and have been looking very promising, versus the bottom seed in Europe, the 1-9 team. Quite a few problems that they've had, I think, with some random roster changes, but they seem to have finally settled on something, and that might be what will propel them to do a little bit better as the phase moves on, now that we're about 2/3 of the way through it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to ask you, how do you think they're doing so far? Because actually, we had a little bit of discussion in the chat. Did they win any game? Are they able to actually compete at this kind of level? Do you think they still have a shot at this tournament?
I think it's tough because they've had those changes enough, so it's like really hard for them to keep up with the other teams that have also been settling for as long as they have. But Mixalazeub, they looked really good in the tournaments leading into this, right? In the relegation tournaments, they did not look bad at all. But I mean, Interstellar and the other teams have kind of been able to peel away from them. They haven't been able to keep up necessarily as well, but we'll see maybe if they've prepared enough for Team Yoinkers as they go into them here in this Week 10 matchup. Now, Yoinkers lost the coin flip, the last time these two teams played, so Yoinkers get to have their first choice of bans and everything like that. Yoinkers have chosen to ban Ice Mines and Bright Marsh, and Mixalazeub have banned Bazaar and Warder's Gate, which is actually going to take us to Jaguar Falls for map number 1.
Interesting. As usual, you see always Bazaar getting banned, Shadow Desert, these kind of maps that are not super usual. You kind of want to rely on those standard maps like Bright Marsh, like Jaguar Falls. Maybe Frog Island being in the pool, it's going to be interesting in a little while, but yeah, let's get down with picks and bans, and let's see what's going to happen between Yoinkers and Mixalazeub. Of course, since it's Jaguar Falls, okay, and we are in EU, Ruckus is going to be first ban, of course. We saw the amount of pick ratio that we saw from this particular pick. Drogo's actually getting banned from Mixa. So, okay, unusual, but that basically leads open to a variety of picks. You still have Vivian, you still have, all the tanks in Aura as a first pick available. You still have Genos, you still have, of course, Victor onto your side because Willow is gone, and Terminus for that matter. So yeah, Inara still in the pool, Ashe still in the pool. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if we have any...
I'm a little scared because you don't ban Drogos and Willow on Jaguar Falls unless you're looking to go pirate ship. That's what that screams to me. You're banning them because you want to go that direction, but I think the Terminus ban kind of hits that right where they didn't want to be hit more than anything. They don't have one of the primary, I think, strong picks for that composition where you can stack on point and use that, infinite shield effectively if you get the resets to keep your team going. But that's not the direction they've kind of leaned this way. They have the Corvus and the Genos. They're now looking more towards kind of a hyper pocket style of things here. And Yoinkers will have to find an answer to that. Maybe something anti-dive, maybe a Torvald, maybe an Atlas, things that can help them stay alive through that level of aggression.
And I wonder what kind of DPS or flanker Mixal is going to take. At this point, we saw Lex being pretty effective on Jaguar Falls, but also Zin. So, yeah, the sky's the limit, honestly. And on the other side, Yoinkers with a super standard and very solid composition, taking up the Vivian and Atlas. Like, this is pretty much an unstoppable three-way composition right now. You have the best point anchor tank in the game. You get Atlas, who can basically switch up the aggro and do pretty much a nice amount of damage as soon as you push, as soon as you're trying to pop off those mounts. Of course, you got the Torvald for Mixala, so that means it's a full-on mark composition. You got heals, you got damage, you got shield bubbles, you got everything under your control. So they're going to rely on Victor for the DPS pick, and let's see if they want to continue with that. And of course, for Yoinkers, they can pick up another DPS just to sustain that Victor damage.
Yeah, Victor is going to be kind of scary combined with it, but normally we see this kind of hyper-aggressive or hyper-damaging composition paired on a map like Serpent Beach. That's where you see the Hyper Victor, but Serpent, not even in the pool right now, so you're not really seeing it as much at all. Zamba being picked up, and they're going to want some DPS to fill in, I think, the cracks here. Like you were mentioning, a flanker would be great. I mean, Androx is still available if you wanted to go that direction, but they're going to take the Kinessa on a map like Jaguar Falls. Can do quite a bit. It has those long angles, but it's definitely going to be a lot of pressure on Logi to make it work here with only one pick left. And now, do you go with a fourth pocket style of character, or do you go with someone to get pocketed? They go for someone to get pocketed. Koga will now probably be receiving all of the love from the supports on their team. This effectively triple support, almost zero tank composition from Mixalazeub is going to have to get past a very standard core that Yoinkers have brought to the table.
Yeah, it basically comes all down to the last point, because at this stage of the game, you basically want to kill everybody and then get to the point. So that works fine if you're on track to capture, but the problem is going to come down with the push, because of course in Jaguar Falls, you're up against a high ground. So yeah, pretty difficult, and the last stretch is super hard to get in if you don't have enough tanks to kind of systematically try to block the side lanes. So I think we're ready to jump into the map as soon as possible, but once again, I really appreciate the Kinessa pick right here, because of course, yeah, you have Koga, but as soon as you shut Koga down, there's basically nobody that can physically touch you. There's nothing that can rely upon you to do that damage. So yeah, you're pretty much safe, and you're pretty much into the back line.
Yeah, for sure the Koga will be able to get away with quite a bit. I'm currently worrying about whether or not I've turned off the Brazilian announcer from the last PPC game. We're about to find out in a couple seconds if we have a little foreign friend here with us to bring us the announcement of everything. We will definitely discover as we get a little closer. Nope, Ron Jobert will be our accompaniment here. Look at this, actually interesting by them. Field study. Normally thanks Grandpa is what we see, but they are really going all in on this pocket composition now with every single mark, every single little damage boost, maybe other than Hunting Party Tyrant in the world, but he uses every ounce of energy just to get in and he dies immediately.
Don't understand that. And as I said before, as soon as Koga dies, you're basically free to go. There's no way they can contest this kind of composition. There's no way they can get into the point. So I don't know. I'm really shocked.
Yeah, and they lose another one too as well with a great stagger from Goodlad. Is actually great juke by Ubers to avoid that rewind, but Goodlad is just running through them right now with this Atlas to stay aggressive. And Nauk again, kind of on an island, immediately dead. This composition is not doing what it needs to. This Koga took a 1v5, but I think it's smart play by Yoinkers, right? Being close enough to each other to peel when they try to engage with all that stacking on one character.
Absolutely. The win condition was to kill everybody and then get to the point. If you are all stacked together, you know, that becomes pretty difficult. They did that, you know, they orchestrated a full-on defense in a very consistent manner. I think it's just a misplay from Koga right there. The first and the second time, and yeah, they basically got the point, and now they're going to go for a full-on push. It's been like 45 seconds to, you know, the entire game, and they're already basically onto the last stretch.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to break out, too, because of Logi's positioning here. They have no way to really get onto him, because Koga's not that kind of flanker to make that happen, but he can shred a tank from full to done. Goodlad will collapse on the side, and now wants to find a little bit more.
The damage is insane, but they need to be a little bit more focused. Of course, the Kinessa's next one to go, but she has the mobility. She has the way to reposition herself. And yeah, they just need to wait, because Koga, once again, you see, is super risky, super going into the action. And we see right now the little bit of damage he's going to do with his ultimate, trying to get, again, that Kinessa, and she's going to just fly away with no scratches.
Yeah, the Cyclone Strike just did a little bit of damage, but not enough to make this trade happen. As Devosi in the backline trying to make something happen, but unable to do it. And I'm watching P.E.K.K.A because no one else can really contest the point. They have no tank. It's kind of all on Ubers now, and Nauk will try to do it, but guess what? He wasted his ult earlier, so it's just going to roll right in. Yoinkers effectively non-stopped the entire time. One little misstep from Nauk slowed them down, but it wasn't enough to make the card ever completely stop.
Flat 2-0 without breaking a sweat. I don't know, man. This game is pretty much telling of the entire series, because, I don't know, they relied heavily into this super aggro composition, but if you lose your key points, you know, your key player with that Koga, you're bound to lose each and every fight.
I don't know if I like them relying on the Shadow Step build as well. I think I'd almost prefer the Agility build when you're being hyper-pocketed this way. So instead of having to spend your dodge and your movement for sustain, you can have a little bit of a speed boost that you play off of instead and then hold on to those moments of sustain for when you really need it, as opposed to just having to spam it in the middle of a fight. But all eyes on Nauk again. He's approaching from a different way, but he already gets knocked kind of low. He still is the crux of this whole comp, but a Seismic Crash will engage on the other side instead.
A little bit more confident, a little bit more, agile in this situation. Doesn't die quite soon, but yeah, the other team is just gonna pick up the slack and do a bunch of kills right now. Of course, Kinessa takes the first one onto the other side, and right now Genos is gonna go with the second. That's okay, but of course, there's no way. They have no tank, they have no sustain, to be honest, and everything relies onto this Koga, and he's not killing anybody because you have so massive tanks onto that point, you're not able to actually squish through and try to do that much damage. Yeah, there's no way they can actually get in. Look at that overtime.
The Dread Serpent was perfect there in the back. They knew they had something with the Corvus doing it. They're trying to save it now with the Torvald ultimate, but actually, wait, it kills the Inara, but how can they live in front of this Vivian and everybody else on the team? Not too long, P.E.K.K.A falls. And what a great fight by Yoinkers. I mean, the ultimate's defensive usage was so good, and they're even pushing for more.
Yeah, indeed. They're gonna go in super deep with this Vivian. Of course, when you're all alone by yourself, it's just gonna melt you out. And Koga right now trying to use this ultimate to just survive the onslaught of damage coming onto him. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like a super good composition. They can still try 100%. But they need to get their game straight. They need to find a kill. And Koga just died once again.
Really, really tough game for Nauk. I mean, who does he really realistically fight? It was their last pick. Maybe they needed someone easier to pocket. But Logi on a 21 streak, just uncontested now on this Kinessa because they don't have a flanker that can get in. Koga isn't that kind of flanker. He's stuck in front, getting chipped down. And now, 50 seconds down, we're rounding what could be the last corner.
I don't know. I don't know if they actually can make this defense. Because, of course, as I said before, Kinessa is going to be pretty much uncontested into that backline. And they're pretty much spreading thin onto that defense. All backed up in the spawn. Corvus is using their ultimate, just trying to pick a little bit of timing. But, yeah, the payload is going to be delivered. And they took the win out of nowhere. So, pretty fast swipe right there of 4-0 in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, just basically straight through. I wish I don't actually have the time stat in front of me, but it
but the precise one.
Yeah, I don't have the precise one, but we can say not very long. I think we can say that with confidence, and we'll look at the stats and see if that backs it up as well. Damage-wise, I mean, Logi, 60,000, way above everyone else, and that was also shooting Torvald shields half the time. P.E.K.K.A with 43,000 damage effectively taken away from both of those DPS, and still Logi and Prosper end up running away with it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. As soon as we saw that composition, we were trying to guess, okay, who's going to be the last DPS? Who's going to be the last flanker? They went with Koga, which is fine, but I would have preferred like a Lex or something with a little bit more sustain and damage. But they went with Koga. Koga super aggressive onto that first round. He lost. He died. And look at those stats, like 0 kills onto your main target, your main composition build. Yeah, you're bound to lose these kind of games, and I hope they can basically do something different into the next, match, the next map, because right now it was a full-on disaster.
And Logi, by the way, 11-0 on that Kinessa.
Yeah,
so a 24 streak by the end of the game. Honestly, probably just sad that he didn't go get an annihilation. He probably was like, yo, can we not cap so I can pad my stats just a little bit more? But map number 1 in the bag. Map number 2, as I get that ready, I'll tell you ahead of time, is Frog Isle. So Frog Isle will be map number 2. You even mentioned right before we started, hey, this map might be important or something we expect to see in this set. And we are going to see it. This is actually also Mixalazeub's pick. So after how that first game went, the direction they want to go is here. Maybe play around snipers a little bit more. But that's kind of tough to want to do, right? After you got demolished the way that you did by Logi last game. It's like, wow, man, Logi sniper was insane. I know just the answer. Frog Isle.
So the answer right now, what is going to be? Oh, are we going to ban Kinessa? You still have streaks. Oh, you want to ban both of those snipers? You live open the Ruckus, who's, in EU, is such a huge pick. So right now, they kind of are backed up in a corner. They don't have many options to go with. And Logi, as we said before, times and times again, incredible Kinessa player. So what can you do right now?
Ban it, I guess.
As we can see, ban Kinessa, and we have Strix. So in a very sniper heavy map, yeah, you go with the Ruckus ban from Yoinkers. That's fine. That's okay. But you still have plenty more ways to go. And yeah, that's the second one. So 2 snipers are gone, but that doesn't mean you cannot play around that. You can still pick Victor. You still have Vivian at your disposal. You can still go with that, Bubble Shield Torval build. You have so many options, and you also have 2 picks right now. So yeah, let's see what's going to happen.
I think them first picking Victor, that makes a lot of sense after a sniper. After both snipers are banned, Victor's kind of the immediate fallback. Some people would say that after that, you would maybe go to Leon. Leon with Eminence is also the next one. But having both snipers down, picking up Victor, it's a good start for Mixalazeub. But they're going to need a lot more than that if they want to make it work on this map. But neither of the pockets are banned. Genos will get by here. And we can maybe see a tank picked up by them, but they'll actually go the direction of Maeve. So they get both of their DPS a little bit early since Yoinkers showed their hand very early with tanks. And I like this. I mean, Victor, we know he's doing well in the meta, going to pair well with the Genos. Maeve, literally the most winning champ right now in the PPC. It's not a bad pickup for Mixalazeub to start this draft this way.
That's a hot stat from you, but then again, we still have a casting to go from Yoinkers, and I need to fill that DPS spot. And then again, Midnight Pulse is incredible. You can basically break down the entire enemy team fight composition if you're able to pop it at the right time. So, as you said, yeah, they got a very good, very straightforward composition right there. But until the other side, you basically have the best point tank in the game, the best off tank, to pair with that point tank. You got Corvus, one of the best dealers apart from Genos. You got Vivian, best DPS in the game right now. Her stats are insane.
Merlot.
So what do you do?
I have the last pick typed in right now.
Okay.
It's a support. I'm going to give you one guess as to what they've picked.
Grok.
Ceres. So Ceres is the last pick by Mix. And now I'm going to tell you, Ceres on this map, actually not the worst. But it's, as a healer, this is clearly being picked up as a damage dealer because you have the Genos already, right? You probably want to be playing Soul Collector with it. But you can play Mortal Reach. You can do jumping over walls to pocket people on this map. It can function, it's just difficult to be that confident in on Frog Isle as a DPS. I mean, damage Ceres, fine on a map like Jag, a map like Bright, maybe, or even Serpent, and sometimes when you have those more kind of condensed maps, but look at what they're playing into. That's not easy. That's not an easy matchup.
I'm fine with it. It's something different, something you're basically not prepared for. So she's not going to be so important. Yoinkers, they're going to go for the classic. They're going to try to kill Victor, and maybe Ceres can sneak a little bit of damage, into the team fight, I guess, something like that. And Shaolin as a last pick is just to deal with Rom at this point. So Rom is not going to be able to just roam freely inside and outside the point and into the enemy backline. So I don't know. I'm curious about the Ceres. The fire rate is pretty good. The range, though, and the amount of projectile that you can actually intake inside of the team fight is going to be the huge issue.
It has a pretty long range. You can just spam a choke point forever, right? But yeah, the problem is it's so slow. I mean, they're gonna see it coming. No one's gonna be like, oh God. Do you watch Futurama, Merlo? Have you seen Futurama?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Remember that scene where they're in one of those government bureaus and they're riding those really slow scooters, and they're like, "Oh no!" as they just slowly careen towards a stack of boxes. That's what it's like getting hit by a Ceres from far away. Just seeing danger coming and doing nothing about it for several minutes. So Devosi actually going to be playing healing instead.
Yeah, with Mortal Reach.
They're low on damage, but at least they have a tank this time.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what's gonna happen because right now we're inside the game, and yeah, I got it mixed up a little bit before. And so I wanted to say, yeah, the fire rate is super slow. The projectiles, they kind of come in late. They stack up pretty easily if you don't pay attention. But yeah, Mortal Reach coming in right now. Yeah, as I said before, a little bit problem with Rom. Not being able to actually move as fast as he can, as freely as he can, and it's going to be the first blood.
Yeah, as he goes down, got CC'd by all the different ways they have to stop him, but interesting to see the ROM going that late, this aggression right now. Devosi keeping up with the healing, but this is early game Ceres, so she's going to be able to do that And that's it, but no way to touch because P.E.K.K.A can't use any cooldowns to get in, right? They can't use the dash. They're going to get crippled, going to get set back, and immediately another kill from Logi.
Ooh, he's not moving. He's not useful at all. Like, he's having so many problems right now. Of course, Laji taking those snipes with the Shaolin. They're all backed up into spawn, and that's pretty much over. They don't have a composition to actually deal damage. They're all backed up. Rom is basically useless. He's a moving still target. He's not moving. He's not actually getting into fights. He's basically controlled right now. Yeah, it's dangerous right here.
It's just so hard for Rome to run in, and here's like an attempt of it, right? He'll go through, actually managed to cleave the team, and but a pick on the back onto now can make things a little tougher. He's now just went around and prospered, literally just standing still because he doesn't even need to move.
Yeah, right there. It just goes brrr and gets a bunch of damage into his face, and he's gone. And the problem is we didn't even talk about the Victor, because Victor is still the EPS pick inside that composition, but he's not doing anything. He's backed up in the spawn. Look at him. They're not moving.
He's able to do a decent amount of damage. He got some healing before, but I mean, they're not going to be able to touch the cart here with this ROM. Solo tank ROM into this many counters when you don't have, I think, an insane amount of damage to follow up on it is a real problem. That's the biggest thing to me. Uber's somehow not dead yet on this Maeve, managing to escape, but not a kill for his team at all otherwise. And Logi really running away right now. 7-0 for him. Just, they have to find a way to make their sustain matter on the side of Mixalazeub, because Devosi on this Ceres, I mean, healing more than his Genos, but not by too much.
We knew this was going to be a hard set for them, and for sure, a hard game. I was expecting a little bit of a reset from the other game, but I don't know, man. It's just, I don't have anything to say. Nothing constructive can come from here, because they did, like, 0 kill. Well, absolutely 0. So how can you harp on that? There's no data. No way we can say, oh, they could do this, they could do that. No, nothing. They got 0 kills. 0. And that thing is going to continue, because right now, they still got no kills. And they're going to get killed over and over and over. Meave is gone right there. Vivian is going to be huge with the amount of damage she can deal onto the back line, because right now, she's coming onto that back line right now. She just took out the Genos. All the others is backing up, you know, actually retreating. So, I don't know, man. Yeah. What can you say?
Not too much. At the very least, hey, they got a kill, okay? They killed Logi. Now, he really put his foot down for his team to get a kill here, but not much more than that as Yoinkers managed to maintain this space. P.E.K.K.A just taking too much poke early, and Logi watching this angle. Shaolin so lethal on this map, and maybe they don't need a sniper when you got Logi on this Shaolin running you down.
Ooh, that's a Hail Mary right there. A super huge snipe. And I really appreciate that, because right now, Logi's still on fire, still super consistent. Even though this is a pretty much a long game, he's still consistently doing kills, doing damage, playing as much as he can.
And we'll just tag along with that, Sue, here as we move this cart forward. No contest quite yet by them. This is the fun little ride that Etsu gets to have while his team gets to play the game up front. And the lad actually gets caught out. Great combo there, but they need to find more out of it.
Okay, now do that 15 more times and you're good to go. 15 more times and you should be able to actually bring the game back.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, you know, just do that.
I mean, you can't when Logi's heat hazing into your back. Look at this. Ubers does get away, but Logi's still all over them.
And he still has the possibility of killing that Genos. He chooses to retreat and do a little bit more of a safe play, but that's okay. Like, they got the pressure up. Genos is basically doing nothing right now. Through time and space coming in, but there's no damage, no kills, no nothing. Yeah, and they got off. So this is going to be another super fast, super clean 4-0 in a little bit more, you know? Yeah, maybe.
Wait, they have Ceres ultimate still. They have the convergence. Is that going to get everyone? It actually gets just one, but P.E.K.K.A is on the point, exiled. Actually, wait, now he's recovering this, Merlo.
XD, yeah, they're coming in, and they're going to get killed soon after. Rom all by himself. There's no healing. There's no control. There's no supporting at all. It's going to be a super clean 4-0. Once again, a little bit difficult to do than the last game, but still, that Ceres pick, hurt my soul.
Tough one, I think, to justify when it performs like that. Again, I think that there actually is kind of an unexplored niche for DPS Ceres, and in a meta where you can play double support, like a Soul Collector on a map that's very close range, it can work. You can play maybe Mortal Reach solo heal Ceres on this map if you're playing really far dive, but just not the way that game ended up working out. Devozy, less damage than his Geno, still just a little bit more healing. Very, very hard game for that Ceres, getting pressured out, but the damage dealers did a little bit better. Even if they were low in the kill department, they were able to, I think, have at least respectable damage into as one-sided of a game that was.
Yeah, I really don't have anything much to say. I think that the analysis that you did, like, Ceres could be a great pick, could come back into the meta, because of course you have double support. It's a niche pick, it's new, it's something you don't see very often. She has capabilities of going, stealth and getting out of fights, but that's not the way you want to play her. That's not the way you want to implement her inside your meta. She could be a huge pick, she could get a couple buffs and maybe right back onto the meta bus. But right now, it's just not going to cut it. They had a little bit of a problem right here. Yeah.
For ending that game positive. I just wanted to say, the fact that Nauk actually ended that game positive with how that was going, actual shout out to him.
Thanks to Ceres,
You're right.
Though.
She
had the she had the
Ceres went 0-6 just so now it could go positive. Like,
exactly.
Listen, man, when this phase is over, you might need to find a better team. I'll do whatever I have to help you.
The setup was pretty nice, okay? She set up that ultimate. She had, he had the opportunity to get those kills. He did. Good for him for capitalizing, okay? But once again, 2-0, and we just started the stream like 20 minutes ago. So, okay, pretty good so far.
Listen, I do have to check. If all the games are like this, I have to talk to whoever's on afterwards because they might need to be ready just in case. But I mean, Mixalazeub, they've looked better than this in the past.
True.
They're experimenting, and this is not the time to experiment, I think, against arguably the best team in the region. Yoinkers, they beat Clown Fiesta. It was a close game, but they still did it. And they're sitting at the top of a region that a lot of people say is just the best in general. I think they need to have a better showing than this. They got to pull something else out. Something they're maybe more comfortable on instead of something they've just kind of spitballing and trying to figure out if it will work at all.
I mean, also Laji, you saw him before. He was playing super seriously, He was super serious about the game. He was super strong. And of course, very, well-versed into the game. He's not taking this easily or lightly. He's actually playing the game. And actually,
he's crushing him.
Yeah, so he's doing great. He's consistent. He's respecting the enemy team. So you want to respect them back by playing it as much as possible, with all their strengths, and playing kind of meta picks that you can utilize. At this point, we were expecting the double sniper ban, but we were expecting something different, coming up from the DPS or flanker side. They went with Victor, which is fine, but you need the right outlet to use him, actually. But it's okay. Anyway, let's go for possibly the final map. And what do we have here? What do we have for the next?
Keep. Stonekeep is
Stonekeep,
where Mixalazeub want to take us, and they will remain first pick, as it is loser's pick now at this point in the match. But we'll see if Mixalazeub do change anything. And early in Araban, Etsu's ability to capture the point may be a little bit too tough for them to deal with, so might as well get rid of it and have a point game that you can win a little bit harder.
If you don't want to play Terminus, I'm fine with an Inara ban. So that's okay. Ruckus, of course, coming up from Yoinkers. That's also pretty fine since we're in EU. Right now, you still could ban Vivian at this point if you're Mixala, because Vivian was super consistent, super strong. And right now, in the meta, and of course, comes in Vivian ban from Mixalazeub. Yeah, she's just unreachable in the actual and current meta. Moji, okay, you explained that to me.
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, this just seems like, hey, we just beat you 4-0, 4-0. Let's ban
it's
Moji.
Fine.
It's one of those kind of bans, it seems. I've definitely been on both sides of it before, but Mixalazeub, they are targeting them a little bit harder now. Atlas is going to be the first pick by Mix, and they've already banned one and taken the other of the tank combination that Yoinkers has been able to take every single game up until now.
Absolutely. Let's see what's going to happen onto the Yoinkers side, because right now they got Janos. They still have Corvus on Stonekeep also. It's going to be Victor, but it's okay. Like, we still have a Marcon composition if we really want to roll it. So many options, so many possibilities. You still have Bomb King at your disposal. You still got Eevee. You still got Meve. So you can play full-on flankers. You can go with Fernando. Stonekeeper basically lets you play everything as soon as you have a nice strategy to go off of. So if you want to play Church, you want to take those nice DPS picks that you can actually use from one side to the other. If you want to go with the flankers, you're just going to play, into the high ground, trying to snipe the enemy team behind their backs. And talking about sniping, Strix coming in from Mixalazeub, that's okay. That's a pretty good pick on Stonekeeper. But remember, you still have Kness onto the other side. You have Xin, so that's okay, but you need a kind of a pocket pick to basically go with him inside the enemy backline. And let's see from Yoinkers. Rom, completely uncontested right now. And Barrick.
Okay.
Krasnik. Yeah,
I mean, it's Barrick.
That's a Barrick.
Paired with Genos with an Aura Band. It makes sense. There's teams that prioritize Barrick a little bit more than some others, so I don't think this is the worst. It isn't just Strix, which will be difficult, but not necessarily, I think, impossible for them to play as Mixalazeub now. They need a healer, and they need potentially a main or off tank, because you can play... I think you can play Atlas in either lane, but
you still have Ashe.
You do still have Ashe. You could play main tank Atlas and then get off tank Ashe to get really aggressive into them, but they're gonna grab Makoa. That seems like we need an off tank, but we also need someone to stop this Rom from doing whatever he wants.
And that's a pretty nice pick because it kind of fills those two spots. You want to have the pick off, as soon as you grab somebody, because you have Strix behind it. You have Xin. And also, you have the possibility of a mini reset as soon as you use your ultimate. And so you can also be a kind of an anchored tank if you really have the ultimate and if you really want to. Yoinkers going with the Canessa, and I was expecting that because, of course, it's going to be a battle of snipes. And the better sniper is the one who's going to win. And I'm just wondering if Barrick is going to go architecture, if he's going to go with, tinkering with a little bit more DPS since he has Genos on his side and also Victor. So let's see as soon as we jump into the game what's going to happen between these two teams. And, of course, the loadout. That's going to be the important part.
Yeah, it looks like Logi has a lot of options here on this map when he can blink over the hedge and kind of attack them from behind, but... We'll see exactly what he chooses to do. Architectonics is currently the hover for Good Lad. I wouldn't be shocked to see him... I always talk about how tinkering can be played with Genos, but it's not necessarily something that we see all the time. I wouldn't be shocked to see him definitely stick with a shotgun. He is also a controller player, so having a hit scan definitely more consistent for that in general. Not going to be shocked to see that being played that way. I was going to say Etsu's Subservience would be interesting, having like that off-healer kind of style of play, but he goes back to Enforcer. We've seen it win games before in the minor league, but not going to come out here in the PPC. But what will come out is Big Shield and Guillotine, so a lot of utility on the side of Mixalazeub, and we'll see how they utilize it.
Indeed, right now they're back into the fight. Everybody is basically all packed up, trying to get the first kill with this Makoa, which is the right strategy to do. But I got split in half right now, and Canessa's going to take the first blood.
What a weird position by Logi, though. He just stayed in spawn. He just never left, but he's now being completely locked out by them. But they're capping the point, and they're zoning them into their own spawn. A really chaotic fight from them by now, but yeah, Lars looks like he's getting isolated now by Good Lad.
Idea was good right there. They wanted to pick the Canessa, just do a pickoff, because you have Makoa, so you have the possibility of basically displacing the enemy team. But at this point, they split up, each and everyone, and not taking the point, not making that kill. Canessa, as you said before, super strange being back into the respawn, but also we didn't see clearly. Maybe she basically repositioned herself. So yeah, that's okay right now. Picking up into that corner, Prosper Logic trying to know and be aware of the situation. And yeah, Yoinkers picking up the point right now. Super fast, super useful right there. They just need another kill to make all the difference.
And they will get another onto Logi here, but it's actually a pretty close trade, losing everyone to Prosper, though, who's been just sitting in the backline this whole time.
And the Strix is actually not moving right now. Another grenade. They need to be a little bit more beware of this Rom. Actually going into the backline. Nobody's stopping him. Nobody's hooking him. There's no way they can actually CC him in this situation. And they're all backed up, in the respawn once again.
It was a great juke, actually, by the Rom there to survive that hook. And Good Lad so aggressive in front of them right now using the shield, but kind of isolated. Could go down after this if someone No one fights that Strix, and he will. No one willing to push, and Strix has so much damage that Yoinkers couldn't deal with it.
They need to steal, you know, as many kills as possible, and Strix is gonna be the answer right there. A little bit too aggressive, to be honest, against the the Victor, but it's okay. I mean, it's fine as it is. Yeah, actually taking a couple of kills right now, resetting this whole situation. Kinessa having a battle wits against Atlas once again. Zin actually going in super aggressively, trying to take a kill, and Kinessa is not gonna save herself with that reposition, but it's okay. They lost a bunch of people just for that one action.
Yeah, they're willing to trade into the Kinessa, but yeah, even on defense, your trades are better, but not when they're that bad, when you trade everybody for one. And get your healer staggered out too. Brutal for Lars to get caught out there near the very, very end, as Yoinkers now have any chance they have to set up. All their poke damage is going to stick for another 6 seconds, so they have to use that shield just to stay alive.
Makara tries to take a pick, but he was completely alone, so I don't know. I don't understand that, but it's okay. You do want to do that if you have the full team following you onto that action. That didn't happen, so I don't know. You just traded another tank for basically a 2-0 in a couple of seconds. There's no way they can actually back this off. Yeah, he's completely still.
He got caught behind the box because of the use of the barrage, and the knockup got him killed before he even hit the ground. That is brutal, and I don't think they have a way to contest. It has to be Nauk, because the tanks can't survive.
Yeah, and Nauk right now using that stealth to try to maintain the position as much as possible. It's not going to be enough. He's going to get killed with all the others once and times again. And there you go, another 2-0. Pretty much, yeah, coming in with no contesting at all.
Take a look at someone else's build instead of the Logi build, because we've seen him play Kinessa enough already so far, checking those out as they were playing this. But the aggression from Yoinkers, it countered out what Mixalazeub did at the start. I mean, Yoinkers had this weird combo of we're in your spawn, but you're in our spawn. Like, we've completely flipped sides effectively here at the start, but it worked out perfectly. They had Logi super passive to watch it. They just expected exactly what Mix were going to do. I feel like they've seen this before, honestly, more than anything. You don't normally get to see teams react that perfectly, but Yoinkers were able to pull it off, and Mixalazeub have to find another answer if they want to win a fight.
Let's see if they want to try something different. Right now, they're all coming into church, which is okay if you want to take that kill onto the Kinessa. Right now, going super aggressive against the Rom, but nothing really came of it. They still have a bunch of ultimates they can use, but yeah, need to be very aware of the situation right now. Rom actually doing the sick setup, taking a kill, getting blocked right now, but it's not gonna be enough. Victor doing a little bit of a cleanup crew right there, taking a couple of kills. Zin to be completely all by himself. The damage from the grenade actually coming down on him. Oh my god, this Victor just putting so much pressure onto the enemy backline, and yeah, they're all backed up once again. Rom actually trying to snipe the spider out of a crawling hole. And yeah, they basically got the point, 78%. There's no way they can take it back.
And look at this zone right now with Etsu running in too. Yeah, you're right. I don't think there is a way for them to really break through. They will lose Etsu for it, though, so a kill does finally go Mix's way as they stack with P.E.K.K.A finding 2. And this could be their way to kind of break them down and get in. But the half shell gets spent kind of early due to the lift. There's a lot of ground for them to cover, so they might just have to stop right here.
They need to stop, regroup, and refocus, but yeah, that double kill could mean something. They have the capabilities, they have the output damage potential to actually get those kills, but they need to be a little bit more aware. They need to actually follow the Makoa, because he's all by himself right now, and once again, he's completely out of position because there's no team behind him to follow him up onto the action.
Look at that. Nauk actually took a lot of damage from Logi early there. How is he doing in this fight? Stuck in the middle of them, has to flashbang and gets a quick scope. Great kill by him, but he still has to deal with Logi and the rest of the team surrounding him.
Stuck in the middle with you, and you still got a kill and a flashbang, actually saving him from disgrace. But, of course, Janus being right behind actually takes up the kill thanks to the CC and the Void Grip. So right now, situation seems almost the same. They just need to wait a little bit longer. Rom actually picking up the high ground, and I think it's just going to be a repeat of the thing that we saw before. Rom actually able to just go into the backline and bounce everybody up once again. And there you go.
Look at this, actually. Look at this Cataclysm there. It gets only 1. I thought it could get more, but Etsu has to drop down now. But this is bad for Yoinkers, actually. Even with the Dome Shield here, I feel like they got flanked. They got pressure in the back. They just have to contest.
And look at the damage coming on from the dome right now. Of course, we got an amazing play from Strex. Uber, I don't know why, trying to get another kill. That would be huge if he actually connected it. But yeah, everybody's dying left and right. 44 seconds to go. Still a lot of time to actually do that final straw push. But they need to come on and get another kill. They just need to take this Atlas right there, completely alone by himself, completely out of position. If they stagger him well enough, they will be able to actually get the point and finish this game. And there you go.
Yeah, brutal kill there near the very end, and they'll disengage and see what else they can do here. But actually, this is good by Prosper to get them in now, coming above. But he got shot from the left, didn't know where the damage came from, and has to back up, giving up a lot of space. But Prosper up here is going to be so impactful, and Debussy gets knocked so low so fast.
He's melting him out of nowhere thanks to headshots, and of course a little bit of help from the Canessa onto the lower side. Right now, Barrick fighting toe-to-toe against the enemy Makoa. They got the tank. They're basically controlling each and every one. Onto the other side, nobody's able to touch and block that payload, and it's gonna be a 4-0 after full 3 games full of 4-0s after 4-0s after 4-0s, and Yoinkers takes the win without breaking a sweat.
I mean, a 12-0 from start to finish by Yoinkers. That one was a lot closer, though. That one could have been. That one could have been, you know, maybe a game in a set that wasn't going that way. Just a little bit of a better comp. I like the creativity from Mixalazeub more so than the Ceres. Ying Hielding did fine. Makoa was getting some kills. His hooks were helping them stop the ROM. Yoinkers just they keep giving them great drafts more than anything. I think as we'll look at the stat line here from that. Great damage though from Good Lad, Logi, and Prosper all on the side of Yoinkers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Makoa pick was pretty much the good strat right there. You know, they had the pretty bright idea. They just didn't have the follow-up. He was basically more time than others completely alone by himself, not having, any way to escape or resist or actually staying alive. So they just took the kill over and over and over. And you can see that from the stats. He died 11 times. And 5 times we basically watched him completely alone by himself, outside church or to the point just dying from enemy fire.
Definitely a better look, though. And it's hard to say that when you see what else is there. But a better look from Mix from what we saw earlier. Logi was pressured. So was Prosper. They did die a couple times when they were getting walked at. But definitely a different from the 11-0 we saw out of Logi just a little bit earlier on Jaguar Falls. Funny to see the map that's supposed to be better for the Canessa be a much harder game for Logi.
Yeah, indeed, but what can you do at this point? You have Kness banned, you cannot play snipers. What do? You go shell in. It's the same for him. Is basically, playing each and every DPS as a sniper, more or less. And it was pretty much rewarding. But yeah, that particular map, it was all on the Ceres. Like, the Ceres pick was completely, out of league. And I'm a little bit sad because in this particular game with the Makoa, they actually did something. They actually had a little bit more punch to it, but just came too late. Just a little bit too little too late, to be honest. But okay, I mean, we are basically finished with the EU set right now, at least between you and me, Kresnik, because right now, Dolson, the Dolson, the Rock,
he's
the
in
Johnson.
the closet
I don't
right
know.
now. I'll be bringing him out.
Okay.
I'll be bringing him out once we get to Brazil, which is going to be Parallax Gaming versus In Control, and you guys will be able to see that. And Dave on the other side of this break.